Good morning and welcome to America's Home Cooking. Today we're going to talk about chicory. Let's see. I bought a coffee that's made of chicory. It's called mushroom chicory, and I want to explain to you what chicory root does for you. It has a bitter taste, slightly like coffee, all right? But it does the opposite of coffee. Coffee has a high caffeine in it, which causes your heart to race, which can increase your blood pressure, which means sooner or later you end up on blood pressure medication. Okay, let's go there. All right, now, where does chicory root come from? Chicory root is the taproot of the chicory root endive. Okay? Now, besides being very high in potassium, it's high in calcium, iron, magnesium, and manganese. Manganese you need for earaches. Magnesium, calcium, and iron are minerals that you need for your bones and your teeth and your joints. And they also keep your nerves quiet and everything else. Now, there is evidence that indicates that it's anti-diabetic, it's anti-tumor, antitoxin, prebiotic, in other words, it helps with the digestive system, and it's anthelmintic and immunomodulatory, whatever that is, don't ask me. And it also possesses anti-inflammatory activity. That means your bowels and stuff getting inflamed and all. Now, you know, when you have indigestion, that's usually what's your problem, inflammation. Now, it promotes good digestion, it regulates the appetite, and it helps to decrease of the risk of gastrointestinal diseases. Now, and a lot of people have used it throughout the years, but then they went to coffee. Now, in 1700s, when chicory really became popular and started being in place of coffee because they couldn't get the coffee, and in World War II, a lot of coffee was being sent overseas, and there was a shortage of it, so chicory root was used for that. Now, the thing is that the potassium in this, what it does is when you have the caffeine, your heart is pumping harder. This is why people have coffee in the morning to get themselves up, because they haven't rested enough throughout the night, so they didn't get enough sleep or something. They need to, as we say, kickstart the motor. So they take coffee, which gets the heart going, and the heart starts pumping like crazy, harder and harder. So as it pumps harder and harder, the blood pressure through time, it doesn't happen overnight, but it will happen in time. It's going to cause you to end up with high blood pressure. If you're on high blood pressure medication, salt will trigger it, caffeine will trigger it. 1 minute, please. Okay. Matter of fact, I'm making my mushroom chicory coffee right now. But when you have the chicory, now some coffees are made with the combination of coffee beans and chicory root, but the caffeine will override the potassium anyway, and you're still going to end up with high blood pressure. Now, I'll let that finish going. Then what happens is when you have this one, potassium has the capacity of quieting the heart. It actually slows the heart down to be more quiet, and so the heart doesn't have to go like this. It's more at its regular pace. So because it's at its regular pace, blood pressure goes down. But once you're on medication, a doctor will tell you point blank, he'll tell you to stay away from salt, but he doesn't tell you to stay away from coffee. And coffee is one of the things in caffeine. Chocolates are another thing. Sodas are another one that does it. Tea is another one that does it. All of those are high in caffeine. So unless you cut a lot of that out, you will find out even though you cut back on your salt, your blood pressure is going to be up. And if you have processed foods, remember they're higher in salt, and they're not using iodized salt. They are using just plain salt, so you're not getting your iodine. So remember that. Now, having the mushroom chicory will quiet your heart. And they talk about the mushrooms that sit there and have all the things that, I'm not going to read them all off, they have it in it. Now, I am using Rise in this aspect. Now, there's another one called Doze, D-O-Z-E, but Rise as well. If you get the chicory one, it's going to quiet you down. Remember, but if you have a high salt content and stuff, it's not going to lower that blood pressure down. I don't like having high blood pressure medicine. I won't take it. No way in heaven or hell am I going to take it. I will not have coffee, tea, or chocolate, or soda. I haven't had sodas in so many years. I think I would probably gag on sodas. I make my own. But this is chicory coffee. Now it has a rooty taste and it has a bitter taste just like coffee, and you can treat it like coffee. And this is what it looks like. I wanted you to understand what chicory has. It has a high potassium. If you have high blood pressure, it will help lower this. All right, but remember, if you just take this and you still have sodas and you still have chocolate and you still have tea, you're still getting a high potassium level. So you have to cut out tea and coffee and chocolates and carbonated sodas. Once you take those out, you'll notice your blood, and you lower down your salt, you'll be much better at it. So what I have done is, like I've showed you, I make my own salt. I make a more nutritious salt using more kelp, because kelp doesn't have a high sodium, and sodium picks the blood pressure up, just like caffeine. This is why so many people are on blood pressure medication, is because of that. So I decided that I would make a more nutritious salt. I would come off of coffee, tea, sodas. Well, I never was really a soda or candy person. I mean, I'm the one who'd go to the store as a little girl and look, pick a candy and say, no, I don't want that one. Now I'm going home. My mother has fresh fruit for me and desserts. I want that instead. So chocolate was never a big thing in my life. Sodas, my mother bought when we had parties or something for the children to have. But other than that, soda was not a big deal in my life. Chocolates and candies weren't. Like I said, I loved Halloween to get dressed up. But when I came home with a bag of candy, it could be sitting there 10 years later and I won't touch it. It's just me in that aspect. I'll eat homemade desserts and stuff. But do remember that if you have coffee and you have tea and you have sodas and chocolates, you're going to have high blood pressure in time, because those contain caffeine. All right? So, listen, take care. I hope you try Rise Mushroom Chicory, because it's very high in potassium and it lowers that blood pressure. Take care. I'm going to go eat the biscuits I made yesterday that you saw. Take care. Bye-bye.